Welcome to my Security Plus certification class. I am Seolito Rodriguez. In this session, we will discuss Objective 1.1.1, compare and contrast various types of security controls. As I mentioned before, in the official cybersecurity plus objectives, this is listed as objective one, but in my class, this is like about the seventh video already. So we did not start with this objective. So make sure that you watch all the videos. So again, this is a video, I believe, about number probably 10 of the whole series. So anyways, but in any case, the compare and contrast uh, security controls is a very important and a fundamental aspect of this security plus certification. What are security controls? Security controls are measures, policies, and mechanisms implemented to protect information systems, networks, and data from threats, vulnerabilities, and unauthorized access. These controls are designed to ensure the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of information, mitigate risks, and maintain compliance with regulatory standards. Security controls are divided into two groups, categories of controls and control types. Within the categories of controls, we have technical, managerial, operational, and physical controls. And within the control types, we have preventive, deterrent, detective, corrective, compensating, and directive controls, which we'll discuss in detail coming next. Technical controls, which are also called logical controls, are security measures implemented using technology to protect information systems, networks, and data from unauthorized access, from damage or manipulation. These controls rely on software, hardware, or firmware solutions to enforce security policies and manage access to resources. Some examples of technical controls include firewalls, encryption, intrusion detection systems, IDS, and intrusion prevention systems, or IPS, antivirus and anti-malware software, multi-factor authentication, or MFA systems, access control lists, data loss prevention solutions, or DLP, virtual private network, or VPN, and security information and event management systems, or SIEM. Managerial controls, which are also known as administrative controls, are security measures that focus on the policies, procedures, and guidelines governing an organization's security practices. They help establish and enforce a security framework that ensures proper management, oversight, and compliance with regulatory and security standards. Some examples of managerial controls include security policies, risk assessments, incident response plans, security awareness training, vendor management policies, access management policies, data classification policies, compliance audits, change management processes, business continuity planning or BCP, disaster recovery planning or DRP, employee background checks, and acceptable use policies or AUP. Operational controls are security measures focused on the day-to-day procedures and processes used to protect an organization's information systems, assets, and operations. These controls are designed to ensure that security policies and procedures are effectively implemented and maintained as part of regular operations. Some examples of operational controls include access control management, backup and recovery procedures, incident response procedures, patch management, change management processes, monitoring and logging activities, user account management, data loss prevention practices or DLP, media protection and handling, Security Operations Center monitor or SOC monitoring, physical access monitoring, vulnerability management, network traffic analysis, and endpoint security management. Physical controls are security measures designed to protect an organization's physical assets, facilities, and personnel from unauthorized access, damage, theft, or other physical threats. These controls aim to prevent, detect, and respond to physical security incidents that could compromise the security of an organization's resources. Some examples of security controls include locks, security guards, fencing, bollards, surveillance cameras or CCTV, access control systems like key cards, biometric scanners, etc., lightning, motion detectors, security alarms, fire suppression systems, man traps, gates and barriers, secure areas or rooms, and visitor management systems. Preventive controls are measures designed to proactively prevent security incidents, breaches, or unauthorized activities before they occur. These controls aim to stop threats from exploiting vulnerabilities by limiting access, protecting systems, and reducing the likelihood of a security event. Some examples of preventive controls are firewalls, multi-factor authentication, encryption, access control lists or ACLs, antivirus and anti-malware software, security awareness training, intrusion prevention systems or IPSs, strong password policies, data loss prevention solutions, physical access controls like locks and key cards, network segmentation, role-based access control or RBAC, secure software development practices, and patch management. Deterrent controls are security measures designed to discourage potential attackers or malicious activities by creating a perception of risk or consequences. These controls do not directly stop an attack, but aim to discourage and reduce the likelihood of an attack or unauthorized action by increasing the perceived security or risk. Just look at that shark over there in the water. Uh, if you are told that there are sharks in a beach that you are planning to go, will you go? Well, some people may still go, others will not even go close to that beach, me included. So that's an example of a deterrent control. Examples of deterrent controls, we could mention security awareness training, warning signs like, this area is under surveillance, just like saying, hey, there are sharks on this beach. Visible surveillance cameras, security guards, fences and gates, alarm systems, policy enforcement, like disciplinary actions or policy violations, legal warning. Like if there is a sign, for example, that says unauthorized access will be prosecuted, lining in critical areas, badge identification requirements, security badges or uniforms, and penalties or fines for security breaches. Detective controls are security measures designed to identify, detect, and alert to security incidents or unauthorized activities that have already occurred. These controls help organizations quickly recognize and respond to potential threats, breaches, or policy violations by monitoring and logging activities within their environments. Some examples of detective controls may include intrusion detection systems, IDSs and IPSs, security event management systems, or SIEM systems, audit logs and activity monitoring, network traffic analysis, file integrity monitoring, surveillance cameras and CCTV, access control monitoring, motion detectors and alarms, user behavior analysis, UBA, vulnerability scanning tools, data leakage detection tools, automated alerts for suspicious activities, and incident detection and response tools. Corrective controls are security measures designed to respond to and fix security incidents or vulnerabilities after they have been detected. These controls aim to minimize the impact of a security event, restore normal operations, and prevent future occurrences by addressing the root cause of the issue. Some examples of corrective controls may include patching and software updates, incident response procedures, backup restoration, malware removal tools, system or data recovery procedures, reconfiguring firewall settings, applying security patches to vulnerable systems, changing compromised credentials, implementing new security measures after a breach, quarantining infected devices or systems, conducting post-incident reviews and analysis, and updating security policies and procedures. Compensating controls are alternative security measures put in place when primary controls are not feasible, practical, or effective. They look to kind of create a balance. They provide an equivalent or comparable level of security to address specific risks, ensuring that an organization's overall security posture remains robust despite limitations in implementing the preferred control. Examples of compensating controls could be multi-factor authentication when biometric access is not available, enhanced monitoring and logging in the absence of physical security controls, regular audits and manual reviews instead of automated controls, using encryption for data at rest when access control cannot be fully enforced, segmentation of networks to limit the impact of a breach, increased frequency of vulnerability scanning when patching is delayed, a stronger password policies to compensate for the lack of single sign-on or SSO, limiting user privilege to compensate for inadequate malware protection, backup and recovery procedures to compensate for the lack of high availability systems, implementing time-based access restrictions if continuous monitoring is not feasible. Now, in a perfect world, well, there is no such a thing as a perfect world, but ideally, you would not have to use compensating control. In other words, the idea is that you don't have to use, but it's like it's better to have something than nothing. That being said, when you use a compensating control, the control have to be either the same, it has to be equal or more than what the original control is. But the whole point is that you use a compensating control when the original ones that you want to use cannot be used for whatever reason, right? So that's the main point. Directive controls are security measures that provide guidance, direction, or mandates regarding an organization's security practices. These controls are designed to influence or direct the actions and behaviors of employees, contractors, and other stakeholders to ensure compliance with security policies and procedures. Some examples of directive controls may include security policies, standard operating procedures or SOPs, security awareness and training programs, acceptable use policies or AUP, incident response plans, employee handbooks and codes of conduct, data classification policies, compliance guidelines and manuals, access control policies, ethical guidelines for handling sensitive information, communication protocols for reporting security incidents, and legal and regulatory requirements. In summary, we talked about the different types of categories and types of controls. We started with the categories of controls, technical controls, use technology to protect systems like firewalls and encryption. Managerial controls involve policies and procedures for governance, like security policies, risk assessment, etc. Operational controls, which focus on a day-to-day security practices, such as incident response, backup procedures. Physical controls, which are security or rather secure physical assets and facilities, for example, with locks, and surveillance cameras, etc. And then we talk about the type of controls, preventive controls, which aim to stop incidents before they occur, deterrent control, which discourage malicious activities, detective controls, which identify and alert on incidents, corrective controls, which address and fix incidents after detection, compensating controls, which provide alternative measures when the primary controls are infeasible. And finally, we also discuss directive controls, which guide actions and behaviors such as policies and procedures. Again, these security controls are fundamental for cybersecurity in general, but also really important for the Security Plus certification exam. As always, please give me a like if you find this information useful, and subscribe to my channel so that you don't lose any content if you are interested in actually following me in this journey and either just learning the material or becoming Security Plus certified. Hope to see you next.